Distinguished guests, please give a warm friendship welcome for our very own Chief Academic Officer, Mrs. Vielka Scott Marcus.
Good morning, everyone. We're so pleased that you are able to be with us today. I know that meeting this way is not our preference. Still, all of us are masters at adapting. It's a skill that we've perfected to keep our friendship family resilient. And even though we're not in the same location, I'm delighted to be your host again this morning. When I delivered the Standards University address last year, at this time, we were in the throes of 3 pandemics: racism, COVID-19, and the climate crisis. This country, this world was reeling, and so were many of us. It is a year later, and like an existential crisis, each of these threats is very much alive and still with us. Racism, COVID-19, and the climate crisis have, in fact, mutated, adapted, and found a way to thrive despite our best efforts. But so have we. We found a way to live, to fight, to love, and to continue to educate our children. We took to the streets, put our bodies on the line. We voted, we mourned our losses. We held our anxieties, our depression. We also held hope and the complexity of change. And through it all, we taught, we led, we made sure friendship stayed on mission. We made certain our scholars and their families were okay, even when we were not sure that we were okay. In the midst of multiple crises, we tended to this house that we have built together over the last 25 years. This house we call friendship. So that we could continue to provide a home for our scholars and their families. We held hope and the complexity of change together. And today, I want to talk just a little bit about how we did that and will continue to do so. But I also want to celebrate the resilience and humanity of your Herculean efforts to lift up our children and anchor friendship in its mission and vision during the most turbulent times we have faced in our collective history. Friendship was an idea brought before it was an institution, an idea born in a parking lot. One of the origin stories recalls Donald Hentz, our founder and chairman of the board, looking out at a sea of cars in the parking lot of a tech company and being appalled that he saw only license plates for Maryland and Virginia. It was in that moment, the story goes, that he realized DC residents were being erased and left out of the opportunities emerging from the STEM and tech revolutions transforming the nation's capital. Mr. Hentz, a veteran of the civil rights movement, a pallbearer for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., naturally saw opportunity in unbelonging. And friendship became an offering and an opportunity in places and neighborhoods where there were none. 25 years after its inception, friendship is still leading from this opportunity mindset. We have certainly evolved. We have curricula in every content area, a thriving foundation, innovative partnerships, and ever-growing plans for expansion. We are a home, a community, a brand, and an institution. We are an exemplar of holding hope and the complexity of change. So the question becomes, how do we continue to shine brightly, even when the challenges and threats we face? The answer to that question and our charge this year is to strengthen our foundation with a focus on the 4 pillars outlined in the opportunity myth: rigorous, grade-appropriate work, strong instruction, deep engagement, and high expectations. Many of you know that we will undergo quality school reviews and our charter renewal this year, but I encourage you not to be distracted by the low bar of external measurements. Friendship has always held itself to a higher expectation, grounded in the liberation of its students through educational opportunity. That is our North Star, and one of the most important ways we hold hope and change as an organization. The very reason that Friendship endures when many other LEAs have disappeared from the education landscape is our performance, our impeccable governance and stewardship, but even more importantly, because we have been able to hold this hope and change that I've been speaking of while also staying grounded in the humanity of our children and that of ourselves. As we begin this journey of this critical year together, I will leave you with the words of Adrienne Maree Brown, an activist, emergent strategist, and architect of Black Lives Matter and environmental justice movements. What we practice is what we are. What do we say we are practicing? What are we actually practicing? Practice is how we become what we long to be. With that, I wish you a year of dedication, inspired practice, a deep intention to continue to not only hold hope and change, but also to evolve from them. Thank you for your dedication and service to our Friendship family. Thank you, Mr. Hentz and Ms. Brantley, for always keeping us mission-focused. Even though we're virtual, today wouldn't be the same without celebrating our Teacher of the Year. 10th grade math teacher Brittany Lott has a passion for math and for helping her students find their voices. Let's take a look.
So what is the question asking me to solve? Talia?
How much water will be left in the bigger tank?
Of course I want to make an impact with my students. I want them to see themselves as problem solvers, problem fixers, thinkers, discoverers, explorers. I want them to see themselves as all of these things within their community, but also within our class community.
She's very intentional around teaching our students about confidence and having that confidence in being well prepared for college. In her classroom, she's a no-nonsense person, and she let them know if you want to go far in life, like, you have to take advantage of it now.
She's really engaged with the students. She encouraged them. She also has personal relationship with the kids, so she really gets that bond with them, and I think it makes it, awesome.
Anytime in my down moments, she's always there for me. And just looking at her, she'll sit here and put a smile on my face. And it's amazing how much of a motivational teacher she is, to the fact that I can just look at her and just be happy, and it changed my day.
I admire Miss Lott because she has a passion that shows for her students. She motivates Sierra in a way where Sierra thinks of Miss Lott a lot. She don't want to disappoint her. She don't want to fail because she knows that Ms. Lott has her best interests at heart.
Ms. Lott, I think she really understands the Tier 1 academic standard, and she wants us to achieve it. She just wants us to be that Tier 1 school.
Always teaching them that your voice matters. You're actually put on this earth to do something. So let's figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing, and let's aim for that. There you go.
Thank you for that introduction.
It is my pleasure to be here this morning to greet each of you and to share some of my story. I have been with Friendship since 2013 as a high school mathematical teacher. I realized my passion for teaching while volunteering in Atlanta's public schools. Since then, I have been focusing on perfecting my craft as a teacher. My goal wasn't necessarily to be Teacher of the Year. I just wanted to master the art of teaching. A teacher who provides an environment for students to become critical thinkers, problem solvers, self-advocates, and confident in their intellectual abilities. To receive the honor of Teacher of the Year is truly icing on the cake. It's the sweetest too, like the best. You know Tech Prep loves the winning feeling. As we often shout out, Tech, 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 it echoed in my spirit as I prepared for my remarks. I thought, what do I say to you when you have probably heard everything? It's like, what do you buy the person who has everything? I want to start by saying we are experiencing uncertain times, which has made many of us more reflective in the midst of this uncertainty. One of my ways of handling my own anxiety has been to journal. With that being said, I have decided to share one of my journal entries that I wrote to myself as I began this new school year. Dear self, girl, you're doing a good job. You're here at this moment in time on purpose. I know we all have times of uncertainty and doubt, whether you're new to education or have been here for 25 years. Sometimes you need a reminder that your presence isn't a mistake. God has you exactly where He wants you. As you go into this new school year, go knowing that you have a purpose in your classroom, in the building, in your district to make a difference. Set your intentions for the year and take it day by day. You will have to teach beyond the textbook to truly prepare your students for life after high school. Critical race theory is a huge topic of debate in the media right now. However, you know that it's important that your students get the whole picture and are inspired to change the outcome. You will have to create a safe haven for your students inside the classroom. Being at home for a whole year has taken its toll. Be patient with them and yourself. Remember to take your time and be present in the roles that you play. You don't want to always focus on the next goal without celebrating each goal you have already achieved. Try not to get overwhelmed by trying to solve every problem all at once. Take it one problem at a time. Take a deep breath. Find one thing to celebrate each day, no matter how small. Take your time this year and really reflect and record your teaching experiences. You are your own competition. Do not compare yourself to anyone. And don't let others compare you to their expectations of you. You can only compare where you started to where you are now. What are some areas of strengths that you didn't have at the beginning of your journey? What are areas of improvement? You can't be who you are now and who you are becoming at the same time. Change is inevitable, so get comfortable with it. Don't be afraid to fail out loud. Everyone around you has failed at something. Failure means that you are still trying, that you haven't given up. It's okay. Get up, wash your face, and keep it moving. Self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. It is okay to say no, or like Ms. Powell likes to say, that is not in my spirit to do, but love and light to you. Teaching your students how to practice self-care is crucial. As you learn more about self-care and setting boundaries, teach your students how to do the same. Whether that looks like leaving work on time most days, sitting in your car for an extra 5 minutes to pray, taking an actual lunch without students, not taking work home, working out more, eating dinner with your family, or putting your daughter to sleep, or just telling the truth even when it may hurt the other person's feeling. Determining your non-negotiables to keep you in the best physical and mental shape allows you to show up in the world as your best self. Being a fan of numbers, I couldn't pass up this opportunity to speak about the significance of the number 25, as we are headed into our 25th year here at Friendship. The meaning of 25 is to be more self-aware and to be open to new things. As you know, 5 times 5 equals 25. The number 5 represents grace, which makes the number 25 grace multiplied. That's for my spiritual people. As we enter Friendship's 25th year, embrace our history, learn from new experiences, be intuitive, and please remember to give yourself grace. That comes with learning. Thank you to our founder and chairman, Donald Hentz, to our CEO, Patricia Brantley, to our CAO, Vielka Scott Marcus, to the directors, Sue White and Michael Robinson, to Simone Green and everyone behind this that made this possible today. Thank you also. A big thanks goes out to my principal, Kunay Booth, and my Tech Prep family. Thank you.
And now, my friends and colleagues, it is my great honor to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Herman Felton. Dr. Felton is the 17th president and CEO of Wiley College. He began his service to the college in the summer of 2018 and has achieved many accomplishments. He is a co-founder of the Higher Education Leadership Foundation, an organization that cultivates a pipeline of transformational, highly skilled, and principled leaders. Please welcome Dr. Herman Felton.
Good morning. In 2012, I wrote an HBCU president about the vision of creating a space where young administrators who were committed to service at our nation's historically Black colleges and universities could gather and develop a network of like-minded aspirants seeking to lead at all levels at our nation's gyms. I consider myself to be a creative, an artist of sorts, and like the extremely talented singer, songwriter, and creative Erykah Badu, I'm sensitive about my stuff. So you can imagine I was crushed after rushing to read his response to my idea, an idea that I thought was brilliant, only to learn that he thought it wasn't such a smart idea. So for 2.5 years, the seed deposited by my God began to sprout to the point I could no longer contain the dream within. And while the sprouting simultaneously overshadowed the ominous cloud of fear and disbelief, it made me move. So I started the work of creating the Higher Education Leadership Foundation. The liminal moment came when I was pushed to create the vision statement for the foundation. Dr. Erica D. McCrae, an expert in special education, sagaciously admonished me to create a mission statement that would be audacious, almost unimaginable, so bold to others, they question my sanity and the probability of bringing it to life. To Dr. Hentz, Patricia Brantley, and all of the founding members, your commitment to provide educational, academic opportunities by forging a comprehensive roadmap that nurtures scholars who develop a thirst for learning, achieve high academic standards, and realize college and career readiness was, is, and always will be bold and audacious. As an educator and on behalf of the millions of educators and administrators across this nation, I say thank you for dreaming, ideating, and to the many folks who believed in the vision, who curated it, and for those great stewards of this sacred trust, affectionately known as Friendship Public Charter Schools, you too must be commended. You are turnaround artists, trendsetters, barrier breakers, visionaries, and dealers of hope. Good morning to you all, Friendship. I bring greetings from Wiley College, home of the iconic great debaters, the first historically black college and university west of the Mississippi River. I'm indebted for the opportunity to serve as the 17th president. When professional and personal mission align, you find an opportunity to produce from a place of kindness, fulfillment, and pure passion. Wiley College is indeed a special place. The ancestors of the cloud speak to us daily. We receive it. We understand that Wiley is a special place born out of necessity and continues to perpetuate and fulfill the missions that are true, near, and dear to our heart. We've graduated folks like Thelma Whitty, who went to Seattle, young black elementary education major, and desegregated the public school systems. Heman Sweat, class of 1943, who graduated from Wiley College and sued the University of Texas because he was a black man and had the audacity to dream about getting a legal education. We now know that the house that Sweat built is commonly referred to now as Texas Southern University's Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And to intertwine the fabric of Americana even more to Wiley College, Thurgood Marshall actually argued the case, Sweat v. Painter, in the state of Texas that allowed Texas Southern to gain a law school. And in doing so, the Sweat v. Painter is a foundational case used for Brown v. Board of Education. Bill Spiller thought it was absolutely appalling that a Negro male could not play in the PGA. He, too, is a graduate of Wiley College. James Farmer, founder of CORE, thought it an aberration of sort not to have equality and racial equity. So he founded CORE and became one of the big four. He was a great debater and also the prodigal son of Wiley College. Opal Lee, at a time in this nation, I'm even more proud after having met Mrs. Lee some 4 years ago, 4 years ago, to know that she alone, and with the work of many others, but she alone kept a vision alive that was impregnated about making America great again, making America atone for its past grievances, about making America acknowledge that all of us weren't free when the Emancipation Proclamation happened. Opal Lee is a graduate of Wiley College, class of 1952, and one of the architects, not singularly responsible, but one of the architects for now having Juneteenth recognized as a national holiday. And finally, as I close with the history of Wiley College, I will submit to you one last name, Tamara Hill, a 2019 graduate of Wiley College, who is our last Fulbright scholar. She looks to have the world reimagine how we look and treat those with disabilities. Today won't be a day where I share groundbreaking research or use big words or try to give you 3 points and a close. Simply going to have a conversation. And I want to share the extraordinary pride that I felt when educating myself on the 25 years of service to God's children you all have accomplished here at Friendship. Talk about operating on a continuum of excellence. You, Friendship, are the epitome of excellence, which led me to a simple revelation. What while simultaneously invoking a little anxiety. What in the world am I to share with these folks today? I remind you to give your sincere best. Yes, I remind you to also strive to be the best subject matter expert at Friendship. Wherever your buckets are cast here at Friendship, I remind you to be the subject matter expert. I remind you the continuum of excellence you curate and steward here is predicated on something much larger than self. Yes. And finally, I want to remind you of what you demonstrate year in and year out with the 93% graduation rate and the 100% placement of your graduates in college or career readiness educational opportunities. I remind you of this. Children feel secure and loved when they have strong and positive relationships. Positive relationships help resolve conflict, encourages students to work as a team and enjoy each other's company. And yes, positive relationships are simply built on quality time, communication, teamwork, and appreciation for each other. Be mindful and methodical with the words you choose. Just as all lives, blue lives, brown lives, white lives, and most of all, Black lives matter, words also matters. What happens when words pierce our soul invariably determines the trajectory in a split second. One can deduce a deficit-driven thought process, and for this illustration, I will share a story about my mother, who had a 7th grade education, who at the age of 25 was single with 6 kids. My brother, born at 15, I at 17, found ourselves with a mother who we knew to be brilliant, yet society and data would suggest that she would fail. She was a janitor. She worked at Pick and Save as her main job, came home for 2 hours, and then at 7 went back to Kmart as a janitor. And she sat and told us stories about how she was spat on at times by her supervisors, how she was admonished for coming to work early and being the best and having a cheerful attitude and signing her work with the mark of excellence, her signature. She reminded us that we had a simple choice. We could lump all individuals in one category, or we could simply use the tools that we have, which are basic common sense, to judge each person by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin, even those who wish to oppress you, even those who think that you have not the right to be in a space, even those who think less of you, sort of like the 3/5 of a man or a woman type people. You see, we are a mighty people. And my mother illustrated this time in, time out, day in and day out. Not a woman of many words, but a woman of action. She was the reason why I, a young man who grew up in poverty, at the age of 13 was shot. Being a product of poverty, it comes with all types of trappings. And as I found myself in the Duval Public County school system, just trying to make a way out of no way, because I had a challenge with reading. And unbeknownst to me, I did not know that that challenge in reading was because I was dyslexic. Let me further illustrate why words matter. After the second time of coming before a person in the penal system, I was told that there was something special about me and that I should find my way into the United States Marine Corps. It was posed as a suggestion, but I had no other choice. And so when it came time for me to join the United States Marine Corps, I was not eligible. I had not graduated. I was 5.5 credits short after attending 12 years of school. I repeated the 10th grade. And so I find myself at this moment wanting to change my life and to have an opportunity to move forward. And the Marine Corps presented an opportunity to come in as a 12J, which meant I had to get my high school diploma or my GED within a year after completing my MOS training, military occupation specialty. And all throughout this time, I went through the MEPS process that I tested very low, barely able to get into the Marine Corps with a 33 on the ASVAB, and 80 is the highest, 30 is the minimum. I found myself in the Marine Corps at boot camp, laughing at boot camp. It was a joke. It was a joke to me because I had left a life of crime and poverty. It was a joke to me that you could actually go to bed and be peaceful, have 3 square meals a day, and not worry about crime. It was a joke to me because physical fitness was a joke to me. And I learned very early on, after listening to my mother educate me on what I should do in not so kind voices, that drill instructors were simple creatures. Their job was to get you to move from point A to point B. And if you focus on what they say and not how they say it, life can be pretty simple for you. The Marine Corps found me with people who poured into me, and the first being a chubby white woman in Iwakuni, Japan, who created a safe space for me. A safe space for me to say to her, I have a problem reading. I simply went in to fulfill my obligation, which was to continue to get my GED. And in doing so, I had to take a placement exam, and for the life of me, I still do not know why, to this day, I said to her, I have problems reading. Which she responded, what do you mean? And I said, sometimes the letters in the words appear backwards. And her exact words were, oh, baby, you may just be dyslexic. And at that very moment, my world did not crash. I cried, but my world did not crash. You see, I thought that words in my mind would be attached with that revelation. You're dumb. You're not smart. You can't do this. But instead, I was met with dyslexics are actually above average in intelligence. What? My world changed. I moved from 8 years in the Marine Corps, excelling, being meritoriously promoted to every position until I got out, to getting out of the Marine Corps and trying to figure out life. I became a collection agent. Had a problem with that internally because some of my bills weren't paid, and I was being forced to force people to pay their bills. Then I found my way at a car dealership selling cars. And then the dream job came, the U.S. Postal System. They told me that they had a place for me. And being a product of poverty and living in blue-collar neighborhoods, you understood what working at the U.S. Postal Service meant. It meant a lifetime of job security and that you could actually fend for yourself in a very comfortable way. Well, something happened for me after about 2 years. Coming out, working 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, I saw a young man who was driving a Mercedes, little simple Mercedes, and asked, why are you different? Meaning he didn't have on a uniform. And he said, I work in logistics. Well, how did you get that logistics job? I don't know. I was recruited by a person right out of college. Light went off. I tried to get into college, but I had a GED. And there was one place that took an opportunity, Edward Waters College, now Edward Waters University. And from there, I soared. I went from not being able to get into college because people poured into me to get in a full ride to the University of Florida for law school. And there I met a young man who was the president of Murray State University who asked me, what exactly was I going to do after completing law school? Well, I shared with him then, as the SGA president, I watched the president of the college slaughter the board of trustees when they talked about eliminating the open door admissions. And in doing so, he did it with eloquence and grace and reminded them of our mission. Words really matter. All throughout my journey, people have poured into me. And I, being the cynic and the constant competitor, always wanting to prove people wrong, always live on words. It matters what you say to people. It matters what you emote around people. And it matters the actions that you take that people pick on. Those things matter. I want to leave you with a simple message. I am a dyslexic. I'm a product of poverty. I did not graduate from high school. In fact, when I finished, the only thing on my wall in my office is my high school transcript. And what you will find is that I was ranked 429 of 447 with a weighted GPA of 1.29. You see, data would suggest that I would not make it. And that 7% friendship that does not graduate, I challenge you to find those. I challenge you to speak words that will resonate even with that 7. Yes, we know that this system, and I am thoroughly convinced as an educator, as an administrator, there is something really special going on here at Friendship. I can tell you that because of the spirit in which I was greeted from the minute this opportunity presented itself to this very moment. There is a spirit of excellence. I can feel the ideation and the creation, but I'm going to challenge you to do more. I'm going to challenge you, accept the stretch assignment to do more, to find that 7%, find ways to move from 93 to 100%. It is unfathomable that you are able to do what you do to the simple man. But oh my goodness, is it a wonderful work to see for those of us who levitate in the space of ideation and creation, and also in this space where people think you're crazy to imagine what they're afraid to do. I want to leave you with a word that Bayard Rustin, a civil rights activist who was a vital cog in the civil rights movement and a confidant to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I'm certain that the founder, Donald Hentz, knows. He spoke words that resonate clearly with me, and I believe are fitting for my offering today. He said, "We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers." I submit to you that we need troublemakers even now, more today. And because our world is devolving, I want to stress to you the importance of not only making sure that they can get to college, not only making sure that they can pass exams, but I hope and pray that your sincere intent and desire is to impress upon them the critical need for empathy, compassion, and respect for their fellow man. I bid you farewell and greetings, and I pray that God keeps each and every one of you in the very palm of his hand. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Felton. My apologies. Before we conclude today's program and return to our virtual sessions, I want to thank you for working so diligently to prepare our classrooms for the successful return of our scholars. I'd also like to thank the members of our Friendship academic team, our campus teams, our leaders, and our communication and event teams for their hard work and commitment to make Standards University possible. Thank you for your attention this morning. I look forward to seeing all of you as we continue to enjoy and learn from our Standards University sessions today and tomorrow. I know that you will continue to be steadfast in your dedication to creating a safe environment for our scholars in the weeks ahead. Thank you.